Kind of going way back to the beginning, and I would say I was so involved in sports. I could have dedicated my life to that. I could have dedicated my life to, the family, my family, that was so important to me. But, those are things that I was willing to put aside to follow this call, and I wasn't always sure where I was going, yeah, but somehow I let God lead me, and I think that's important, yeah. We were created, for to love, yeah. I mean, created in the image of life. God is love, and He's, so we were created to love. Well, love is a relationship, and one of the things then going into the priesthood was, I grew up in a big family. There was 8 of us, and here I am as a priest, and I'll be kind of alone in that sense. And that was kind of maybe the one of the big challenges is how would I handle that? And the thing is, what I realize is that we as priests, we do not get into that closer, intimate relationship of family. We don't have any family, yeah? But what we do have is a relationship with people, yeah? On different levels. Like, for instance, the sick, being there and being a part of their lives. The sick, the children, the funerals, the death, you're there for people. You're touching their lives, and you have a sense of, being a part of it. Going to the, like when I go to visit the sick, when I go to, when I administer the sacraments, when I'm saying Mass, all of those things are ways of reaching out to people and trying to give them a sense of God. There's a God, and He's here with us, and His presence, But then one night I got off early, and I came back in, and I remember I was getting ready to go to bed. About 10:30, I was ready to go to bed, and there was we had a little chapel, and was in saying the prayers, and then I heard one of the other priests come in, see? And as he came in, I heard the phone ring. And obviously he answered it, in the kitchen. So when I came out and I said, what was that? And he was standing up against a counter and he had everything in his arms. And he says, there's a man in Haleyville wants to see a priest. That was 90 miles away. He said, look, I'm beat. He says, I couldn't make it, Well, I said, well, I did get everything, I said, okay, I'll go. So I drove off to Haleyville. It was in February. It was cold up there too. And I remember that last part of the journey was up and down the hills, you see. And then as I got closer to Haleyville, I'm saying, what am I going to do here? I mean, 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, by the way, it wasn't my area. The priest that was in charge of that area actually was on vacation. So I wasn't that well known there or anything. So anyway, I say, well, this is going to be something strange. I'm going to knock on this door, and there are no Catholics there, and it's going to be dark, and there's a man in there wants to see a priest, And I go, okay, so that's what I went. I knocked on the door, and a young nurse came to the door, opened it for me, and I says, there's a man out there who wants to see a priest. And she says, I don't know, you see. And I said, well, I explained to her what it was. And she said, well, maybe it could be such and such a man. So she brought me in, and opened the door, and I looked in, and there was a man there lying in a bed, and he was breathing, just real heavy, you see, and wide awake. And his wife beside him, and just a lamp there, you see. So I walked in, you see, and there was nothing, you see. Nobody said anything. And eventually I said, wait, now what's going on here, you see? So I asked the wife, I said, could you step out the side, you see? And I said, is he Catholic? And she said, yes, she says, but he hasn't been in church in 25 years. But she says, every night, she says, he gets on his knees and prays before he goes to bed. So I went in, and you see, he couldn't really speak, you see. The breathing was terrible. I said, do you want me to give you the sacraments and the rest? And he shook his head, no. And I said, well, look, I don't expect you to give like the whole confession and so on. And I explained to him how I could do it, you see. And then he shook his head, yeah, you see. And I said Mass in the morning, got communion, went down to him and told him I'd be back at 8:30, walked in at 8:30, there he was, awake, and, gave him communion, and I'm turning away from him, yeah, when all of a sudden I just heard the word, thanks. It was the tone of voice, caught me, yeah? And it was, all of a sudden it kind of woke up, this man was really grateful, yeah, for what had happened, you see. And I remember the wife, she stepped out with me and she told me, she says, she said, he hasn't slept, in three days, 3 nights. She says, but when you left last night, she said, 5 minutes later he was asleep. And she said, 5 minutes before you came in, he woke up. And he died 2 days later. I remember driving away from there and said, I wasn't in control there at all. I was doing what I was supposed to do as a priest. It was like Phillip, like that's what I'm supposed to do, etc. It wasn't until the words, thanks, I realized he led me there, yeah? It wasn't, I was doing what I was supposed to do as a priest. And that's what I say. If we let God lead us, see what I mean, yeah? Kind of thing. And I've never forgot that. People need to know, that you're there for them. We want love, yeah? We want respect, yeah? All spiritual values. That's one of the things that, part of my ministry is, being a witness to that, what the real values are, and coming from God.